Hello, today I will start with 3 fascinating facts related to the topic, and at the end I will expand on them. First one, human feet are built for extreme, but I mean real extreme, endurance. Second one, there are people who can use their feet way better than most of us can use our hands. And the third one, human feet are super complex structures with 26 bones, 33 joints and 100 plus muscles, tendons and ligaments. Now let's get to the main topic. If your knee hurts, it might not be knee that is problematic. If your hip hurts, it might not be hip. If your lower back hurts, well, you probably got the point. So where to start? I like to start always where it begins. As crazy and weird as that might sound, I look at your shoes and I look at your feet first. And most of the time, they tell the full story. And if they are not telling full story, they are definitely telling the important part. My name is Paolo, and in this video, I will show you and explain you how what you wear on your feet might be the reason and starting point for your discomfort, pain and imbalances. At this point, we are pretty well aware that everything we do in one part of our body is influencing other parts because it just all works as a system. If you want deeper understanding, I'll put other videos related to this topic down in the description. And today we'll talk about something that is many times starting point for all the lower body issues and sometimes even going higher and causing pain in lower back, shoulders or neck. Our nervous system is working two ways, from brain to the body, but also from the body to the brain. Our hands for upper body and our feet for lower body are somewhat something like a signaling antennas. And it's not only the signal going from the peripherals to the brain, but it also is not going always the same way because there is multiple innervation pathways from the hands, from the feet to the brain. It really depends where are we putting the pressure and where the pressure and tension is created. Inside part of the hand is innervated by certain nerves and outside part of the hand is innervated by others. And the same applies to our feet. In reality, it's actually not only inside and outside, and there is multiple branches also depending on top and bottom, and it's way more complicated. But for our sake, this separation inside and outside will be sufficient. And through this innervation, through this pressure on certain parts, whether inside or outside of our palm or our feet, we trigger a chain reaction, a chain activation up the stream. You can imagine it like this. Pressing on the inside of my palm will trigger different neural signaling than pressing on the outside. They are just different wirings bringing the signal to the brain. This pressure or this activation is changing what set of muscles is more active, what is stabilizing, and what is going on up on a whole limb. And that applies for hands and that applies for feet, for lower body. So what is happening in the foot has a direct impact on everything above. If your foot collapses inside, the knee will compensate with a slight outward rotation, and then hip will compensate with slight inside rotation. And all the way up the chain, it can end up with having one shoulder raised compared to the other. And it all started in a way how you are planting and using your foot. However, the actually interesting part is that many times it doesn't start with the foot itself. It starts with shoes. Shape and type of shoes will determine how well is our foot reinforced, embraced, and at the same time challenged for the proper activation that is supposed to be happening. And if there is something missing, or in some cases there is something extra, it can cause all the problems. It might make the foot unstable, and then the whole compensation chain begins. Naturally, we should be able to use our feet for strong gripping, for ability to walk on uneven surfaces, to stabilize, to compensate for the challenges on the terrain. And the toes should be fairly widespread. If we are wearing narrow shoes long term, our toes are squished together, and not only we are not having them wide as they're supposed to be, but it leads to a loss of strength in the foot itself. The arch can collapse and ankle can buckle in. Then the knee needs to compensate, and so on, so on. If we use shoes with padding, they are taking a lot of absorption. They will absorb the impact, which seems like a great thing and great idea, but it's not. Because we lose our own natural ability to deal with it and the strength in the foot to take the impact. In a more extreme scenarios, for example, runners who are using soft padded shoes are creating a problem with the stroke itself, because they are planting a foot that would not be possible if they are barefoot or if just the shoe is not taking all that impact for them. On top of it, some brands are even using a fancy running design where the shoe is U-curved, and it's not even much of a running anymore because you are kind of swaying or rocking from a heel to toes, which on the first sight it's kind of efficient because you're prolonging the time of the impact with the ground, but it's not really doing you any favor because ankle is actually supposed to act like kind of spring with the plantar fascia, then Achilles tendon, calf, hamstring, glutes, all being involved in the actual impact and takeoff. But when you have this rocking movement, it's just completely different from what the natural movement in the ankle and the lower body is supposed to look like. Some people who already had some problems with shoes, or they just somehow randomly bumped into it in a mall, have insoles that are designed and curved exactly based on the shape of their foot. So they take their measurements, they take kind of imprint of their foot, and they design the insole exactly where the gap is, they will fill it in. And it's reinforcing all the weak spots. It might sound super cool that it's reinforcing the weak spots, but they are never going to get them stronger. It's like wearing a crutch forever. The longer you rely on this kind of support, the more muscles that are supposed to be working will be just fading away. Kind of like cheating on every test you ever do. Yeah, you are passing and you are kind of progressing, but you are not learning anything and you are definitely not getting smarter. And the high heels are possibly one of the worst because they are combining all of this. They put foot into unnatural position where the heel is raised and the toes are pointed down, so the weight distribution is different, the pressure distribution is different. You can imagine what this can do if you're wearing them often or on a daily basis, not only momentarily, but long term. It's creating absolutely terrible foot strength, weight distribution, and the stiffness and activation up the chain is just completely altered. Imagine you duct tape your fingers together for multiple years. What do you think will happen when you will try to put thread through the needle with those fingers? So what to do? Where to start? The less we wear shoes, or we wear the right shoes, the better for us. Because we naturally strengthen the foot, and therefore everything up the chain has higher likeliness to work properly as well. If narrow shoes are a problem, well, get the shoes with wide top. Your toes, your feet, fingers should be free. If your shoes feel like you are walking on the cotton, well, get shoes that have hard and ideally flat insoles. If you have high soles, high base and even curved, just get rid of them. It's really not doing you any favor. There are plenty of options for barefoot footwear which are solving most of these problems. And if you can, and as much as you can, try to be barefoot. Try to use your feet the way they're supposed to be used. Of course, there might be people whose feet are already so compromised, they can't just make this transition fast. I would really recommend you to do it progressively. If you have been using all these wrong types of shoes for a long time, be smart and do the transition slowly. The best scenario, of course, as I said, is to be barefoot as much as you can. But for example, if you have two different sets of shoes, one for office and one for training, only change one of them. So if you're changing your training shoes to barefoot shoes, keep the office ones normal, or opposite. If you are changing your office shoes, keep the training ones normal. And by normal, I still mean the top just need to be wide. That's not negotiable. The transition can be fairly painful. It's just muscles and structures that are being woken up, so it will take time to adapt. For 1 to 2 weeks, you might have sore feet. There's nothing wrong with it. You'll just need to go through that. And eventually, when you will adapt, you can slowly transition and change all your footwear to the optimal. If you take this seriously, you can also implement training your feet with certain exercises. Try to pick up objects from the floor with your toes only. It can be a pen, it can be a towel, a cloth, or a napkin, anything that requires you to use feet more like hands by gripping. And if you do this while standing on the other foot, well, obviously single leg without any support, then you're also practicing your balance, so 2 in 1. By doing small steps over time, it can lead to great changes on the long term. You should not expect miracles in a matter of days or weeks, but you should pay as much attention as you are paying to your hands to health and functionality of your feet. And that all starts with the footwear. Thank you for watching. My name is Paolo. Send this video to 2 people. First one, somebody who really needs some upgrade on their feet. And second, somebody who you would really like to go shoe shopping with. And towards our facts from the beginning, human feet are built for extreme endurance. Native tribes are doing 10 to 15, and hunters and the more advanced walkers up to 30 kilometers of barefoot walking every single day. However, there are also people in civilized world, whatever we call that, who have amazing performance with the barefoot running. For example, Abebe Bikila won marathon on Olympic Games in 1960 running barefoot. Second one, there are people who, because of unfortunate life circumstances, lost their hands or arms, and yet they developed insanely great proficiency in using their feet instead of their hands. For example, there was this lady, a mother of multiple children, who was raising them and doing everything you can imagine, from changing diapers, cooking and caring for them, only using her feet. Or a guy who learned how to fix watches. Fine motor skills that most people would not be able to do with their hands, and he mastered it with his feet only. And a third one, foot has 26 bones, 33 joints and over 100 plus tendons, muscles and ligaments, and it has 25% of all bones of the body are just in our feet. So take care of your feet. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, reach out directly to me or comment under the video. See you next time.